Welcome back to the Kian and the Prez show. Back here for our Week 10 picks. As you can see on the left and right, you can see how we did for Week 9. And below that, our overall pick standings for the whole season. Trying to keep track of it so you can play along with us and keep track of how we're doing. Easy to follow. But we're going to get into it. Our Week 10 games, we got 5 matchups we're going to deep dive into. And then, of course, we have our quick hits to do after that. So let's get started. Thursday night football rematch, AFC North, Ravens and Bengals. Big game, especially for the Bengals. They're 4-5. Had a good game last week, won their first home game, which is crazy to say, over the Raiders. And looking to stay alive in the AFC North race, even though they're 3 games back of the Pittsburgh Steelers. But there's a lot of football left. If they can win this game, maybe they can go on a run. I don't think winning the North is an option, but I do see a pathway for them getting in the wild card. Right now, the 6 and 7 seed are held by 2 AFC West teams, the Chargers and the Broncos. Easy to catch those teams, I think. I think those teams will probably win around 9 or 10 games, and I think the Bengals have a pathway to get there, but they need to win a lot of football games, and I don't think they only got room to lose 2 of them. The Ravens, on the other hand, they've got some interesting losses. They have a loss to the Raiders. They have a loss to the Browns. But when they win, they look really impressive, and they looked impressive last week against a decent Broncos team. So it really depends on what team we're going to get. Now, remember, this game happened earlier in the year, and they scored a lot of points. A lot of offensive shootout. Both quarterbacks played really, really well. A lot of points on the board. And I'm not expecting as many points this game. I think the Bengals' defense has gotten a little bit better, a little healthier, but then all of a sudden their offense is not as healthy. Losing Zach Moss, T. Higgins looks like he's not going to play this week. On the other side, the Ravens' offense may have gotten better. They traded for Deontay Johnson, and that Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson combo is really just coming together and looking really great. Lamar, 20 touchdowns, only 2 picks on the year, playing like MVP candidate, and would set a record for having 3 MVPs and never being to a Super Bowl. Never been done before, if he was to win it this year. Anyway, I'm going to take the Bengals here in an upset. I do think the Bengals defense is playing better, and the Ravens are just hit or miss, especially defensively, making a lot of errors in their back 7. I just don't think they're a complete defensive team. And I think Joe has really got control of the offense. He's mixing in his tight ends now that Higgins is out. I just see him having a great game. I think this game will be more like 27-24. I'm going to take the Bengals in an upset.
Yeah, I think this should be a close game. I think the Bengals will have a pretty good offensive game against the Ravens defense. I don't think Tre'Davious White will make that much of a difference for the Ravens. But I still think the Ravens will win this one. I think it will be close, but I think the Ravens offense will play well this game. I think they will be able to run the ball, and I think they will consistently be able to score on their drives. If that happens, I think the Ravens should win this game. If the Bengals are able to hold them, I think that means the Bengals won't win this game. But I think the Ravens will be able to defeat the Bengals defense. And although the Bengals will score as well, I think the Bengals might make some mistakes here and there, and the Ravens will take this one.
All right, next, a fun matchup between the Steelers and the Commanders. I think if you would have told me going into Week 10, Steelers and Commanders both would only have 2 losses, I would have said you were crazy. Now, the Steelers we knew had a front-loaded, easier schedule, but we weren't sure what was going on in the quarterback position. And the Commanders, no one was picking them to be 7-2 at this point. But this game I feel like is going to be a tough matchup for the Commanders. While the defense has gotten better, and they made a great trade in getting Marshawn Lattimore to really address. What's wrong?
I thought you were talking about the Steelers. I thought you said the Steelers.
Okay, making faces at me. The Commanders' back 7, adding Marshawn Lattimore on defense. I think the Commanders. I lost my train of thought because you confused me.
You
Uh,
confused me.
yeah, blaming me. Probably my fault. Commanders. Anyways, back to them. Let's go back to the Steelers. So the Steelers defense is playing well, and I think about Jaden Daniels' ribs. I feel like he has issues. He hasn't played his best yet, and he's still looking a little sore. He played decent against the Giants, but not his best game. Uh, and I think that the Steelers pass rush will get to him. He's going to have to run the ball, and I think he's going to be a little tentative. And I think that's going to cause their timing to be a little off. Steelers also are coming off a bye, extra week to prepare. So I got the Steelers over the Commanders, and I forgot a bunch of stuff about that game. I'm sorry.
What?
It's your turn.
Um, yeah, the Commanders. It seems like they have been the better team. They have a better record, slightly, but I think the Steelers will win this one. I think although the Commanders' offense has been doing really well, they're facing a pretty great defense, and I think the Steelers' defense will cause some trouble. The Commanders don't have the best offensive line, so I think T.J. Watt and the rest of the Steelers' pass rush will get to Jaden Daniels and cause some problems for them. Maybe Preston Smith will do something for the Steelers. So I think the Steelers' defense will stop the Commanders, and the Steelers' offense has been doing good, and I think uh, they will be able to pass the ball. Marshawn Lattimore could do good against holding down George Pickens, but I still think Najee Harris has been playing great. So I have the Steelers winning this one.
All right, next up, 49ers coming off a bye, traveling to Tampa Bay. The Buccaneers on a short week. But if you look at the Buccaneers back into their schedule, it's very winnable. They still have 2 games against the Bucs. They got some games against the Saints, games against the Panthers, and then games against the Saints. So they've got some easy games. They've already played the Falcons twice. So their schedule gets lighter after this week. So I still think they have a chance to maybe get in a wild card spot. I don't think they can catch the Falcons, especially with the Falcons owning the tiebreaker. But they played really good in that game against the Chiefs, except for a bad timeout call. Shouldn't have called the timeout with 30 seconds to go. Should have let it run down a little bit, then called the timeout, and then gone for 2. You're on the road.
Yeah.
You are tied with an undefeated team. Todd Bowles, go for 2 and don't call a timeout right away. Either way, I was really impressed with how the Bucs played. I thought Baker actually played his best game. When you think about the fact that Mike Evans and Chris Godwin were both out, obviously Godwin out for the year, Mike Evans has the potential to come back, but really used Cade Otton really well. Reusing the running backs, Bucky Irving is going to be a superstar in my mind. So I'm really impressed with the Buccaneers. I feel like their coaching staff offensively is really good. I think they have a chance to beat the 49ers. 49ers, though, maybe getting Christian McCaffrey back. Also, you have Kyle Shanahan off a bye against the Buccaneers team on a short week. 49ers are still in the hunt in the NFC West. It's anybody's race. Anybody can win that division. It's really up for grabs. So I'm just kind of lean on the better coaching and the bye week, and I'm going to take the 49ers over the Bucs.
Yeah, I do think the Buccaneers should have won against the Chiefs. I do think they made a few mistakes. But this game, I think it should be close. I was considering picking either team for this matchup, but I ended up going with the 49ers. The Buccaneers have some injuries, and I don't know. I don't think that might affect them horribly. I think they still have some talent behind the players that are injured, although it will still hurt them. But I think the Buccaneers should still do pretty good, but the 49ers have some pretty great players on their defense, and I think their offense, if Christian McCaffrey comes back, should be pretty amazing, and I think the Buccaneers will have a tough time, and I think the 49ers are just the better team in general, so I have them winning this game.
Okay. Next up, speaking of those Chiefs that we just talked about in the game of Bucks, Chiefs will be at home facing the Denver Broncos. And I remember the Denver Broncos beat the Chiefs last year after losing to them for like 6 years in a row at every game. they finally got over the hump and beat the Chiefs, and their defense played really, really well. The Chiefs are a team that hasn't blown anybody out, and they just keep finding ways to win. Sometimes it gets lucky; they get lucky with teams making coaching gaffes. Mahomes didn't have any turnovers last week, but he did hurt his ankle. Is that going to be more sore throughout the week? Saying he's going to practice should be fine. Looked not so great, but was able to come back and lead them to victory. The Broncos started off okay and actually had a chance to stay with the Ravens early in that game last week. Just had some bad red zone opportunities. Went for a fourth down, didn't get it. Settled for a field goal, another trip. And then they got too far behind. And Bo Nix is not yet the quarterback where you can have him throwing every down to make a comeback. So I do think this game will be close. I think the Chiefs will struggle against a pretty good Broncos defense. I think Sean Payton will make some smart play calls, get Bo Nix out on the edge, lower his decisions. But I think the Chiefs were just going to find a way and get to 9-0. Or 10-0. 9-0?
I don't know.
Undefeated. Keep going.
Yeah, I also have the Chiefs winning this one. I do think this will be a close game, as most of the Chiefs games have been. So, but the Broncos are a pretty good team, and their offense has been doing well. But I think the Chiefs are just the much better team, and maybe their defense can somehow hold the Chiefs' offense back. But I still think the Chiefs' defense will hold back Broncos' offense and Bo Nix. So I have the Chiefs winning a close game against a good Broncos team.
All right. Last matchup of the week as far as our deep dives, and that will be the Detroit Lions facing the Houston Texans. Now, early in the season, I would have loved this matchup. These two teams are definitely heading towards the playoffs. One team looks like they're just dominant. The other team having some struggles. Houston Texans have an offensive line problem. They have a weapon problem. Nico Collins cannot come back fast enough. I was thinking maybe they'd be able to develop Mechie and Tank Dell would help out. Maybe the ball Dalton Schultz. But as we saw last week against the Jets, CJ just hasn't enough time in the passing game. Now they are able to run the football. Joe Mixon's having a great year. They can run the football. And the Lions, their defense is playing better, but they can be run on a little bit. So I look for the Texans to run the football really, really effectively and try to move CJ around a little bit. CJ is really good on the run. He's not really a runner, but if you make the pocket a little more mobile, make his decisions a little easier. I know I said this about Bo Nix, but right now CJ just can't drop back. If he drops back in a deep step drop, 5-step, he's got someone in his lap. And the Lions defense played really great against Jordan Love last week, probably their best week, and that's after Brian Branch got ejected. Branch will be back and angry. But to me, you know what? The best team in the NFL right now is the Detroit Lions. They're controlling the line of scrimmage on offense, and they're starting to do it on defense. And they may have the best safety combination in the league with Kerry Joseph and Brian Branch. So I like the Lions to win this game, and I don't think it's going to be close.
Yeah, although the Lions have multiple edge rushers out for the season, they trade for Zadarius Smith, and I still think they'll be able to get a lot of pressure against the Texans. Texans, I think they do need to invest in their offensive line a little more. They have in the past, but it hasn't really worked out for them. And CJ doesn't have much time, but it feels like they should have a pretty good offense, and they can. I guess they'll try to run the ball and lean on the run game against the Lions, but I still think the Lions' offense will be unstoppable. So I think the Texans will lose this game. I don't think it will be the most close. So I have Detroit winning this one.
All right, now time for our quick hits. Giants face the Panthers in Germany. Will anybody watch? Will anybody care? Probably not. Give me the Giants.
Probably the Germans. have the Giants winning this game. Bryce Young has played better, but I still think the Giants have a decent defense, so I think the Panthers will have some trouble and lose this game.
Next up, battle of rookies again. Bears face the Patriots. Well, I think Drake May has been playing really well and Caleb Williams has not. I think the Bears defense will win this game for the Bears. Give me the Bears.
Yeah, I have the Bears winning this game. I just think they're the better team overall, and Patriots might not even want to be a good team or to win games. So I have the Bears winning this one pretty easily.
Bills, Colts. Josh Allen playing against the Colts when the new Josh Allen, Anthony Richardson, should be starting but is not. And he will beat Joe Flacco. Give me the Bills.
Yeah, I think Buffalo will win this one pretty easily. I think Josh Allen will have another great game. So I think the Bills should win this one easily.
Falcons, Saints. Saints. I could say this would be the game where the Saints bounce back from firing their coach, and it's, that week after coach effect, which really happens. I just don't think it matters. I think the Saints are in shambles. Give me the Falcons.
Yeah, I think the Falcons' offense will do very well against the Saints' defense, and I think it should be a pretty easy win for the Falcons if the Saints if the Saints play like they have the last 7 weeks. So I have the Falcons winning.
Vikings, Jaguars. Jaguars season's over. Vikings isn't. Give me the Vikings.
Yeah, I think the Vikings will continue their bounce back from that weird 2-game stint. So I have Minnesota winning this one pretty easily.
Chargers, Titans. Don't see a lot of points this one. Maybe 14-3 Chargers. Give me the Chargers.
Yeah, I think the Chargers have a much better team overall than the Titans. I think their defense will do well in this game, so I have them winning.
Cowboys don't have Micah, don't have Dak. CD really shouldn't play because of his shoulder. Eagles have everybody. Give me the Eagles.
Yeah, I think maybe Saquon Barkley has another great game, which wouldn't be shocking. So I have Eagles winning this one.
Jets, Cardinals in the desert. I think the Jets will shoot the birds down. Give me the Jets.
Yeah, I think this should be a pretty close game, but I guess I have the Cardinals. I think Kyler Murray will have a pretty good game.
Rams, Dolphins on Monday night. And sad for Tui, he comes back and they can't win, and I think that continues as I have the Rams beating the Dolphins.
Yeah, I think the Rams will win another game as they've continued to play better over the past few weeks. And I think their offense will do very good.
Much very good? Got it. All right, that's our show for the week. Hopefully we did a much very good job and you enjoyed watching us. We'll be back next week. Take care.